Firstly,
Hello, sir.
congratulations on the achievement on behalf of Team AKS IAS Academy. We are overjoyed to be part of your celebrating success and wish you the best in all your future endeavors. We are humbled to have you on board for this session where we hope your preparation tips and strategy will help and motivate aspirants who are preparing for UPSC. So, firstly, Aswin, congratulations. Last year, you had been to the UPSC interview. You have been selected for the APPSC interview as well. But unfortunately, with a slight margin, you could not make it to the final list. But
Yes, sir.
maintaining the consistency in your preparation, that perseverance, you had cracked the All India services in this attempt. Okay, coming from IIST, a different kind of background of Indian space technology,
Yes, sir.
you had chosen to prepare for UPSC, and we are very happy that you secured All India rank 235 in this attempt of 2021, and we are sure that you would go miles ahead in the future. So if you could give a brief introduction about yourself and your educational background, that would be.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm really happy to be part of AKS Academy, and you have been motivating even after the last failure in the interview stage. You have sent us all books that really had motivated us. And in this interview also, we had a very personal discussion before my interview as a one-on-one session. That also had helped me a lot. So coming to my background, my name is Aswin, as you have mentioned, and I am from Guntur. And most of my schooling happened in Guntur itself. From LKG to 12th standard, I am from Guntur only. Then after 12th standard, I have been to Trivandrum, where we have this institute called as Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, whose chancellor was Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So he was one of the biggest motivation to go to that institution. So there I have completed my graduation in 2018. Thereafter, I have been writing attempts one after the other. Since 2019, I have been giving civil services. So in the first attempt, I could not clear the prelims itself. So that was one very big backlash in my journey in the very beginning stage itself. Thereafter, in the last attempt, I have reached till interview, but I have missed to get into the finalist. So this time I have done very well in the mains exam itself. So that had helped me to secure this rank. So this is my strategy briefly, and mostly I have fixed to syllabus itself. So preparing notes from the syllabus and revising it. So this is mostly the brief view of my strategy.
So Ashwin, what was your optional subject and how did you prepare for the same?
My option was anthropology. So in the last attempt, I got very less score in anthro. I got around 230, and this time I got around 280. So the 50-mark jump, this happened due to two things. One is the test series that I have taken up, and I have given various tests and questions, because in anthropology, the questions will get repetitive. Like the last year questions will be coming this year also. The second thing, I have chosen IGNO, taken up IGNO materials. There we have got various, like the information is very broad. So this also helped a lot, the IGNO materials and the test series.
Okay. Can you share us your strategy regarding general studies preparation, whether it is for prelims or mains and as well as the interview?
For the prelims aspect as such, in prelims it had been very tough for me. As I mentioned, in the first prelims I could not clear. But in the second and third attempts, in prelims I got around 120. So I even cleared the forest cutoff as well. So the strategy is to solve more questions. So I used to take up various test series which are available in the market. So I used to solve those test series. Second, in the prelims examination, you should have a very strong grip on your basics. Like you have to go through the Lakshmikant more times so that you get a brief understanding of Lakshmikant. And also you should focus upon those topics which are very much not aligned with the natural sense. Say for example, when you are reading about union territories or the Schedule 5 areas, so these are very unique aspects of constitution. So you must give more focus on that. And second, the current affairs aspect is very important in the general studies. So for that, I used to follow the Hindu newspaper. There the editorials are very excellent. So I used to follow their editorials and make notes out of it. So coming to mains aspect, GS4, first I'll start with GS4 because it is one of the scoring subject and it requires very less amount of preparation itself. So first of all, you should take the previous year question papers, and for each word, you should try to make out the meaning from whatever you have understood. Say for example, what is empathy for you? Take out some examples from your life and some civil servant examples. and make a brief notes. This will help you to revise quickly before mains examination. Coming to GS 1, 2, and 3, syllabus is the key in this examination. So if you can focus on the syllabus aspect, so you can make notes or one-page short notes from the each point of the syllabus. Say, for example, when you're talking about pressure loops, so you should have a one-page notes about pressure loops, how did they evolve, what are the changes in the pressure loop aspect. So if you have such notes, it can help you a lot. So this is mostly my strategy. First, I started with the combined aspect on the prelims and mains. Then after prelims, I used to focus on those areas which are specific for mains. Say, for example, society or social issues and security. Those I used to give some more impetus so that it can make some difference in the examination.
Right, Ashwin. So how did you prepare for the current affairs part? Because there is no limit or bound to the current affairs syllabus. How did you manage the current affairs and how did you try to make notes out of current affairs?
So for current affairs, I did not make such huge notes because even if you make the notes, it will be varying. So it is very difficult to revise also. So I used to take up any institute's monthly magazine. So I should read the monthly magazine once or twice. So I could understand the things happening around you. Second, you should not leave reading the newspaper. Newspaper is the key source because there you'll get the perspectives of various people. Say if you read the editorial, there are some people who are appreciating the policy, some who are criticizing, and sometimes you'll also get various data points. Say, for example, the recent NHFS survey. All these data points are available in newspaper. So you should identify those aspects and you should make notes out of it. So these are the two main strategies for current affairs. And third, you can also follow some YouTube channels. For example, Bharata TV or the Sunset TV, which had the big picture aspect. So it provides various input, like the perspectives of various people. From there, you can pick up various points. So these three mostly for current affairs.
So coming to answer writing, what was your strategy for effective answer writing?
Sir, in answer writing, there should be a very good structure. The structure I followed for last two mains was IBC, introduction, body, and conclusion. So in the body part, you should focus upon the positive aspects and negative aspects. So you should diversify your points. Say, for example, you should think upon the lines of social, what are the social impacts or political impacts. Even if they ask in the question or not, try to inculcate some negative points also. If it is critically analyzed, you should definitely write. But even if they don't ask, for every policy, there will be some drawbacks. So you can write some drawbacks, and in the conclusion state, you can try to give some solutions for your problems. And for definitive change or definitive special impetus in your answer sheet, you should bring out some data points or some committee recommendations or some international bodies, what are their conventions. So if you have some good notes out of these things, you can use it definitely before mains examination. But you should definitely try to complete 20 questions. For that, you need a lot of practice and you should write more tests between prelims and mains.
Rightly said, yes, Ashwin. So coming to the preparation, UPSC preparation is a long process, right?
Yes,
so students find this difficulty in maintaining their consistency in preparation and their motivation levels. So how would you do the situation?
If you ask me, civil service preparation is one of the most enjoyable preparation because the events that you are reading are constantly changing. You will be not reading the same event again. There will be some change and it will be always very interesting to learn new things. For example, today we'll be reading about anti-defection. Tomorrow you'll know about how to elect a president, which can be, you'll be aware of that, but it is very interesting to know these things and those are very diverse. So there is always this touch of excitement in preparation of UPSC. But even in that stage, you'll always lose motivation. So you should have some support system. Like for example, in my case, my father and mother, my parents are my good support system. They used to encourage me whenever I used to feel low. Third, you should make use of some hobby or some avocation. For me, I used to paint sometimes when I'm very low, or I used to watch some movies or some series. So in such a way, you should find some alternatives. You should find such gaps in your preparation and you should bounce back into the preparation. You should not be there in the abyss, but you should bounce back with some help or some support system from outside.
Well said, Ashwin. So what do you think are the prerequisites for an aspirant to prepare for UPSC? Some basic prerequisites.
First of all, we should be interested about the things that are happening around us. If you don't have the interest, then you will not feel the excitement in the preparation. Second, you should be very patient. Even if you lose in some attempts, or if you even doesn't get your preferred service, or it doesn't get your preferred things, but you should not lose your patience, and you should stick there consistently and be perseverant. Third, there will be more sounds that are coming from outside. You should try to isolate those sounds from outside, and you should focus on your thing itself. So fourthly, mostly there will be some mental disturbances during this preparation, which mostly people don't talk about. But if you ask me, those mental disturbances are those which we should deal effectively, or else we'll always be in such abyss. So if you are feeling very mentally low, you should find out some alternatives and try to find out what is your way to bounce back. If you could find that, preparation will be very exciting and very worthy during the thing.
Right, Ashwin. So there is this paper called Essay and Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude, which holds significance in the mains examination. Can you share your strategy regarding these papers, and how did you improve compared to last year or the before year? What were the changes in your preparation to score maximum in these papers?
Ethics is one thing which I scored well this year. Last time I got somewhat less marks on it. So one thing that I changed is to collect various examples from different sources. So for example, I used to have the example list of some IAS officers or IPS officers who are coming in newspaper. So recently there is one article regarding one district collector from Assam who had shown the empathy during the floods. So this one example you can quote in an examination which is very much relevant. So you should collect such examples. And there are some evergreen examples such as S.R. Shankaran or E. Sridharan. Should have this in the back of your mind. So if you can write those examples in an examination, that is your differentiating factor. Second, in ethics paper, there are such values in the civil services. For example, integrity or empathy, conflict of interest, or there are some issues, neutrality, objectivity. So you should try to make 1 or 2 lines of these values on your own, or you can find some sources online itself. Some Cambridge University website you will be available. And there are some good books in the market as such. I followed this book called as Mudit Jain, who is one of the IRS officer from 2015 or 16 batch. He had compiled one book regarding the answers of various ethics papers. So that helped a lot. A book by Mudit Jain. Coming to essay, as I said, newspapers are the key source. There you will be getting the perspectives of various people. Op-ed page is the key source for essay, if you ask me. There you can find out the opinions of various distinguished IAS officers or governors. So pick up some line of thought from there and you incorporate in your thing. Then there are some very good magazines that you can follow. For example, The Economist, or there are various good magazines, the Down to Earth magazine. All these magazines are available in the market. You can take those, and for each topic you can prepare some notes. So for example, if you're talking about climate change, you should have some data points, some quotes. Then you should also collect quotes. Quotes are also very much important in the essay paper. So if you have prepared all these things in your notes, these all can fetch you very good marks in these 2 papers.
Rightly said, Ashwin. So can you share your strategy regarding anthropology optional?
In anthropology optional, last time I got around 230 marks. I got very less in paper 1. So this time the things that I changed is I made a note of some anthropologists and their work. So in some questions, you should write down their names and their work so that your answer will be more authentic. That is one thing that you should definitely work upon and you should remember. Say if you write an answer about animism and you do not quote E.B. Taylor, then it is very bad for the examiner as well. So you should incorporate these key names in your answer. So this is one difference. Second, in paper 2, there are some very good examples about some tribal people always in the news. So you can pick up those news articles and you can incorporate. For example, one famous case study that everyone writes is regarding the Niyamgiri Hills, the tribals, how they have won their land rights from the FRA Act. So such examples, there are various examples that are happening. So if you can pick up some examples and if you can incorporate in anthropology, that is one thing. Second, in anthropology, the best part is the repeating of the questions. So once if you prepare the questions very well, so those are the questions which will be repeating again and again. So that you can make a small note of these questions and you can use them. You can use it as it is in the examination. So you can even and you should also write the answers. Even the time is one big constant in anthropology, so that you should work upon during the gap between prelims and mains.
Okay, Ashwin. I'm sure many of the students in AKS and different parts of AP and Telangana will be delighted and They will find whatever the strategies and information that you're giving very useful. So coming to the interview preparation, Ashwin, what do you think was the difference between your interview last year and this year, and how did you overcome the gaps in your preparation?
Both the years, my preparation was more or less on my DAF itself. So mostly it is regarding some technical questions from my background. So and some news articles which are happening around me. So there are basically interviews about the discussion aspect. If you could discuss a very good topic with them, they'll be more than impressed. So to improve the discussion aspect, you should have very good communication skills. So for that, I have taken various mentoring from varied people. I used to discuss various topics from them and I used to get different perspectives. So that is one big difference that I made. And second is to prepare your DAF thoroughly, every word of your DAF. For example, my surname is Kakumanu. In this year interview, I got a question regarding the Kakumanu, which is a village in our district. So they asked about how the village is doing, what improvements can you do, and some aspects regarding current events. For example, I have a discussion regarding the three capital issue. Should you have three capital or one capital? So these all you should have some opinions. So in mains aspect, you'll write different reasons. But in interview, most of your interview is about your own opinion, your own line of thinking. So you should have some opinions and give out those opinions in the interview board to make some difference.
Right, Ashwin. So on a concludatory note, if you could suggest some basic tips for fellow aspirants, what is the right strategy or some basic tips that are required to crack this exam?
So as prelims is just 5 days less from, I think it's on June 5th, so exactly 6 days. So first now you should revise a lot before prelims examination. You should revise. In this 1 week, you should revise a lot of things. And on the day of examination, don't be afraid. You are already well prepared. You should give it with full confidence and self-belief on yourself. If you can do it, the paper can be easily tackled. Even if you don't know any answer, you don't just get boggled there, because if you don't know, no one will get to know the answer. This should be your mindset in the examination, and try to maintain a peace or calmness in your examination. So these for those aspirants who are going to give prelims this year. For remaining people, the key ingredient for UPSC is the consistency aspect. You should be consistent even if you are walking if you are not doing a very big thing. You should always try to be consistent and even break down your things into small aspects and try to fulfill it. And also reward yourself whenever you get some very good result, or if you do very well in your mock interview. So this are mock test. So this also will give you a good push for you to study more. So these are the two things you can incorporate in your preparation.
Rightly said, Ashwin. Thank you for those wonderful inputs and insights.
This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.